Shalom, shalom, shalom. Before I get this lesson started, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakodash, and double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, of whom I learned from, and a shalom to the hopeful elect, taking this truth to the marriage supper of the Lamb, who is Yahweh Shai. This is your brother Adah, with a lesson that I want to say this before. I want to try my hardest to be as humble and genuine as possible. This is what the Spirit is showing me. I'm putting it on this digital epistle so that I can also listen to it later and learn more and not only become more skillful with it to teach it better, to minister it to the body of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, but also to apply it to my own self in repentance and making myself ready as a hopeful elect member, hoping in Yahweh and His mercy and His salvation by Yahweh Shai. So a lot of us understand this precept, Isaiah 4:1. And in that day, and that day is now, and we are approaching every day, every second, we are approaching that day very quickly. It's going into Jacob's trouble, Yahweh Shaphat, which is the judgment of Yahweh on the nations, the 2/3 of our people, basically the entire earth, the worst time in human history that is coming to destroy eventually the wicked, who is Esau, the so-called white man, and set the one who is profitable over the earth, that being Yahweh Shai on the throne of David, the completion or the fulfillment of prophecy, bringing the kingdom of Yahweh to earth as Yahweh Shai rules with Malach Dawadad, or King David, and the 144,000 with the 1/3 innumerable multitude. Isaiah 4:1. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name, to take away our reproach. I've been using this. I've been seeing this. Once I learned, came into this truth, understood a lot of things, and I don't know everything. I'm learning day by day, and man, the water Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, and the water for the prophets, and all the men following the prophets, teaching this 100% truth. This is a physical element. When this is taking place, this is a sign, a token, when the women that have been impacted and been witnessed to, and even some of them being a part of the indoctrination, the wine of fornication, of Mystery Babylon, the hyper-feministic queen of heaven worship, the whole earth being out of course because of the wicked rulership of the nation known as the border of wickedness, Esau Edom, who operates on the left hand, who also is the sword of Yahweh. So many of these perversions, many of these abominations, many of these inversions that Esau has been able to spread throughout the earth, which has socially engineered everybody's mind into some form of gross darkness, being the name of Yahweh changed to Jehovah or God, the name of Yahweh Shai being changed to Yahweh Shai, to Jesus, Salakia, and their national or physical or racial appearance being turned from what it was originally to that of the so-called white man. That was a major work of deception, and only a specific nationality or seed line was prophesied to pull that off. It's in Job 9:23. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and they cover the faces of the judges. If not, then who and where is he? You have to be able to discern and interpret that thing. You have to answer that question. And there is an answer to that riddle, to that prophecy, to that line in scripture. And the elect understand it. The wicked being defined in Malachi 1, 3, and 4 as Esau, Edom, the house of Esau, who is the fraternal twin brother of Jacob, and Jacob becomes Israel, the 12 tribes, the bride or the wife, Mount Zion of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. You have to understand all this stuff. This is a prophecy that comes after the judgment. And this is, and there's a reason why this is written, because right now we see in the earth, especially in America, this is where it's really manifested. Women have become independent of men because of the philosophies and the provisions of this system, the beast system. Women have been elevated above men through laws and philosophies. They've been able to get careers, Hollywood movies, all kinds of indoctrinations has provided for them to have this false sense of strength and power where they don't appear to need men. And that's out of order. That's out of the naturalistic order. That's insanity. But it's also a punishment, you guys. It's as much as it angers and frustrates men. That was the whole point. That's how. Do you remember the story where the prophet Nathan comes up to King David and he gives him a parable about a rich man coming into the city? I'm paraphrasing it. And he has a whole bunch of sheep and a whole bunch of goods. And he sees this poor man who has one sheep. And that poor man raised up that sheep. It was like a daughter unto him. And then he kills the sheep and eats it. And when King David hears the story, he's like, oh man, as surely as the Lord liveth, that man shall die. Because King David could see how wicked that was. And then Nathan says, thou art the man. And then he shows him, this is what you did, man. You took the wife of Uriah. And then you killed Uriah with the sword of the heathen. And instantly, though, the awesome thing about King David is he didn't get mad or rebel. He fell to the ground and acknowledged his transgression, and he repented. The Most High brought judgment on that specific situation, right? And that story in the Bible is not about King David, because King David had multiple wives. Those wives that he all had, they were all granted to him and obtained in his life legally, righteously. There's nothing wrong with multiple women. The way King David moved on Bathsheba was wrong because he knew she was married to Uriah, a man of war in the armies of Israel. And when the kings went out to war, David stayed back home, and all the soldiers were in battle, and David was supposed to be there, and Bathsheba was taking a bath outside. David saw her and took her, and her husband was at battle. So that was the adultery. That's the only way a man can commit adultery, is if he touches the wife of another woman. If she's single, he can take as many wives as he's able to take care of. So that's the same thing that we're experiencing with what we're seeing, you guys. We see this, and yes, this is physical. This is talking about when the Most High is beginning to turn everything around, when he's turning around our captivity, when he's bringing the elect out through the blood of Yahweh Shai, restoring them back into their heritage and their order. Because are they not likened unto women? The men of Israel are likened unto a comely woman. They are the wife of Yahweh. He is their husband. As we are returning to Yahweh, as we are coming out of our adulterous, independent, proud, obnoxious philosophies, drunk on other wines, thinking other things, atrocious thoughts other than the heritage that he gave us, which is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the breath, as we are making ourselves back into virgins, he begins to turn the tides in the nations by bringing down the kingdom that has provided so much for everyone in these false doctrines, and that includes women. And when women are in a position where they need to come back to a covering, they come back into natural order, which is what? Under the authority of a man. This is why the scripture also says, I will make a man more precious than gold. Well, why? Because everything a man has, everything a Hebrew Israelite man has, is what? Is from Yahweh. He gave us the heritage. He gave us the law. He gave us his name. He gave us the precepts. Everything that we have is from him. And all he requires is us to be with him, right? Same thing that we see today when a woman gets married to a man. What does she do? She divorces him and takes half of his stuff. That is the new thing that the Most High said he would create in the earth. Behold, I do a new thing. A woman shall compass a man. That's not normal. That's a judgment. Why? Because the daughter of Zion was not the daughter of Zion, which are the men. Salaki in my throat. The daughter of Zion, which is the men, were compassing Yahweh. How are they compassing? How are they going around their husband, their authority? By going to the gods and the false doctrines of the other nations. And I'm going to prove all these points. I want to say this. Isaiah 4:1 is specifically true about us, the hopeful elect, in the future, getting restored back into order, and women coming back into order because of the judgments of Yahweh taking place in the earth, and then eventually everything will be made perfected by Yahweh Shai when we get our new bodies. I want to suggest that Isaiah 4:1 also speaks to the men of Israel, the hopeful elect men of Israel, that we can glean something out of this for ourselves as men. Being the comely woman who left in an adulteress, multiple adulteries in the past sins, became whorish, a temple prostitute, and as a result, judgment was placed on us. We then discontinued from our heritage. He took his name off of us by taking his name out of the earth over time. And for many days, for many years, we walked in the congregation of the dead. We knew nothing, and then he began to wake us up with the breath. And now we are in that position. We are being set and brought back into order by the Spirit of Yahweh, and waiting for our women to come back in order. And this entire process, all the different levels of emotion and experience and society, all of it, it's a type and shadow of what we are going through with Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. This is what we did. We committed adultery. The men, in the ancient world, men ruled the earth, you guys. Women were under the authority of men. What we are seeing today was not taking place in the past. You had a couple of examples, but for the most part, men had authority over the earth. Men have absolutely no authority over women today. And it's an absolute grief. If you go into Ecclesiasticus, where there is no hedge, look at this. I did not understand this. I'm learning this now. Where there is no hedge. Look, man. It makes, now I'm like, oh my God. Oh, so look, Ecclesiasticus 36:25. Hold on. Let's go to the previous one. Look at this. Ecclesiasticus 36:24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession. So that means what? Listen, you ladies that are going to hear this, you're going to freak out when I say this. But it's because you're so indoctrinated, you don't understand order, and neither do the men, and you're thinking this means something violent or super, like, disrespectful. No, not with a righteous man who understands that he is the wife of a husband, and that husband is the Most High and his son Yahweh Shai. So if he, listen to what I'm saying, if he knows how to be the wife of the man of war, Yahweh Alashajah, and if he knows how to be the wife of the only begotten son of Yahweh Alashajah, Yahweh Shai, which means what? He has boundaries, he has a law, he has a wisdom that he has to operate in, he has a conduct that he must live out. He can't just be any kind of way. That same man who knows how to submit to his husband, don't get it twisted. This ain't disgusting. I'm not talking about what you see in Hollywood. I'm spiritually speaking. If a man of Israel, an elect man, understands how to operate holy in his marriage to the Most High, he's going to know how to operate holy to his marriage to his wife. And listen to what I'm saying. Look what the scriptures are saying. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession. Stop right there. What does that mean? The wife is the property of the husband. The husband is not the property of the wife. Now let's lift it up higher. Is Yahweh the property of the Israelites? No. But yeah, but the Israelites are the property of Yahweh. Why? Because Yahweh Shai, married us. He chose us. We did not choose him. He chose us. We didn't have a choice as far as the initiating of it. We responded to his sovereign election. Let me say it again. We did not elect Yahweh to be our God. He elected us to be his people, and he elected and his decision is what made him our God. That's the authority, that's the order. It's the same with men and women. You cannot break the chain, and when the chain is broken, it's because of judgment, and Yahweh has to declare it so. Why? So that the earth can see, because under the place of the sun is the place of judgment. And the whole earth is out of order right now. But why? Because the wife of Yahweh was out of order, and he had to judge us. He had to kill us. How did he kill us? The congregation of the dead. He took away our understanding. Because in the law, when a wife cheats on her husband, she's supposed to be put to death with the man she cheats on. That's what the law says, man. Women hear that and freak out. And why? Because the hedge has been removed. We have been so long without a hedge, and we've been all gadding abroad and just operating in freedom and doing whatever we want and not paying it. And what do you see women doing today? Because they have no understanding, because they have no hedge, because they have no male direction, no righteous, holy male direction that's hearing from the Most High, not these churches, not Renaissance Western Christianity, not Catholicism, not Islam, not any of these false, bogus religions. I'm talking about the real Most High, the real power, the real Most High. When you have a man submitted to that power, that man operates correctly with women, and he speaks correctly with women, because everything that comes out of his mouth is an oracle. We don't know what that's like right now in the earth because it's all been removed. And it was a form of punishment that got it removed, you guys. Let me come back. Ecclesiasticus 36:24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. Go to the next one. 36:25. Where no hedges, where there is no law, where there are no commandments, where there is no judgment for transgression, right? When there's nothing to restrain. What is the word for hedge? Look at this, man. We got to get all of it. Hedge. Hedg. Hedge. Okay? Originally any fence, living or artificial, from West Germanic, source also of Middle Dutch. Boom, 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 boom. Verb. To catch, seize, right? Let me see. A sheepfold. Enclosure. Okay? Keep thinking, keep listening. Enclosure, hedge. Go further down. Boundary, barrier, like a wall, often used by vagabonds as places of shelter or resort. Okay, let me see. Vile, okay, boom, 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 playing one's trade. You see what hedge, usage, hedge. So you see boundary or barrier. What? From the outside, and also it keeps you in. Bro, when you have a 3-year-old toddler, if you open the door to the house and you don't put like one of those little things that stretch out and connect to the insides of the door so the door can be open, but the baby can't walk out, what are you doing? You're putting up a hedge. You got the door open so that the weather outside can cool the house, right? But you have a little see-through hedge where the baby can stand, like it's inside of its crib where it can't get out the house. Why? Because that baby will get hurt, bro. You need laws, you need boundaries, you need order so that stuff in society can function correctly. In this kingdom, we have been shown that a woman can divorce her husband for any reason whatsoever. When you go into the ancient world, women could not divorce their husbands. Why? Because they were the possession of the man. She didn't have any authority in that sense. And women hear that, and even men hear, oh my God. But again, we are the possession of the Most High. We're the only nation that understands this. All the other nations were not married to the Most High. So they don't understand marriage. Out of all the races of people, this is a very true statement. I don't care how you, out of anybody on the planet Earth, it's only the Hebrew Israelites who would really understand the depths of what marriage is, because they're the only nation that ever was married by the Most High. He initiated the marriage. He didn't marry Moab or East Edom. Yes, they get married, but there's one nation on the planet Earth that was married. And it's that nation who would truly one day have the understanding of what marriage truly is out of all the nations, you guys. And that nation has been punished for breaking its marital vows. It's also the only nation on planet Earth that has ever experienced judgment for what it did concerning those marital vows. So that one day when that husband of that nation will restore that nation back to order, that nation would be Zion, a memorial, a permanent memorial. The Wadi Hawa Bashim Yoshai for giving that. That's a spirit. We would be a permanent memorial to all the other nations, just like Yahweh Shai, you guys. When we see him, he's going to have the scars on his body. The only begotten son of Yahweh, Tazabawath, the only begotten son of Yahweh, has scars on his body. Out of all of his sons. Now, listen to me say this humbly. Maka Allah, on the right-hand side, does not have any scars on his body. Satan, on the left-hand side, does not have any scars on his body, you guys. Yahweh Shai sits at the right hand of power, and there are scars on his body. It's a permanent reminder of everything, you guys. I don't even know if I feel like if I have the position to speak on that. He has scars on his body that we will be able to see, and we will be able to ponder and consider and think on consistently forever, man. So Passover goes into, bro. Passover is what? It's the only begotten son. It's the lamb being slain. Well, what happens when you're slain? You get cut. You get pierced. It's forever. We will forever be reminded of Yahweh Shai's redemptive work, but we also remember the things that we did. And look at the judgments, but also look at the laws. You guys, it's good that we went through this, because those of us who are learning understand the depths of how destructive and horrible adultery actually is. There is no hedge, man. You cannot, in America in 2026, you can't get married. It's the stupidest thing. Listen, again, I'm 54 years old. I'm overweight right now, but I haven't always been. I have a memory. I have a memory of what it's like to be 230 pounds, 6'1", look the way I look, and it's very easy to experience women. I have a foundation of memory of girlfriends that I enjoyed being with, and I also have a memory and a foundation of just insane random hookups. I'm very familiar. I haven't been active with a girl in. My last time was with the chick that I was with. And she was a scourge. That was a judgment. That relationship was four and a half years, and it was an absolute nightmare. And I thought, or the spirit that was on me, I thought I loved that girl, and she took me through it. I had never experienced that level of insanity. The way she cheated on me, like it was crazy, bro. And I held on to her, right? When Yahweh Bashim Yoshai finally separated us, and I wasn't in the truth. When we separated us, I got delivered from that relationship. About a year and a half later, I woke up and then started going through the scriptures and learning a lot. And then I saw all the things I had never seen before in the Bible, and I was like, oh my goodness, the parallels between the female-male relationships, the judgments. the same parallels with the marriage between the Israelites and Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And now it all makes sense. I'm like, the whole planet is experiencing right now. You cannot, marriage is designed to be hedged in. It can't, without a hedge, there's no purpose. Why would you do that? Why would you get involved with a girl that's beautiful, feels good, sounds good, smells good, all that? And you are set up where, in the natural order of things, you're allowed to have multiple wives. She can only have one husband. Today, women can have multiple men, and they think you're supposed to only be for them. You can't. The fact that they say a man cheats, that's a complete misunderstanding of order. A man can't cheat. The only way a man can commit adultery is if he touches the wife of another man. That's it. That's not even in the idea. Women think they have the same equal authority, and men think women have the same equal authority as men do. That means there's no hedge. So this means you have a woman who's the weaker vessel, who's supposed to come under a man's authority, thinking that she has the same authority as a man, and because she's the weaker vessel, but she's been given the same authority as a man, that then makes her undermine the man, and then in many ways she becomes over or superior to the man because she's weaker. She doesn't understand scripture. She doesn't hear from the Most High. She's not being led by the Spirit. She's led by her emotions, and her emotions will always go to war against you. She will always challenge your position by the Most High because she doesn't understand. And for you to get into a relationship with someone like that could have access to your soul like that can feel good like that, and you don't understand your own nature because you don't know the scriptures, and you don't understand why you get jealous. You're supposed to get jealous. Yahweh gets jealous. Because why? She is a possession. We don't, and then we're told that we're weak or insecure when we get jealous. No, that's an accusation on our nature. There's so much misunderstanding of darkness in us not understanding who we are, what we did, who Yahweh is, and what he has done to the earth as a form of judgment, that it is the grace and the mercy of Yahweh if he opens your eyes so that you can see what is going on. It is absolute insanity to me for a man to understand this stuff. I'm just speaking as a man, to get involved with a girl. It doesn't make any sense, because now you're playing with fire, or you're setting yourself up because she's supposed to be your possession. Rather than say, "Oh, I'm gonna hook up with this person and just guard my heart because I know she's gonna leave." Why even do it? Because I'm looking at Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, who got involved with us, and we did what we did, and he had the power and the sovereignty to judge us for what we did. We don't have any power to judge women for what they do, and we don't even have the understanding all the way. I'm still learning this. I'm still understanding this. I don't. And I'm seeing it from the perspective, I'm trying to see it from the perspective of what we originally did as men before Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And then trying to come all the way back from the past up into the present saying, holy shit, look what we did. Doesn't take away from what women are doing, but this is the judgment that is a result of our adulteries also. And this is what it looks like. And this is what it feels like. And we're not the Most High. We're not Yahushai. We're his hopeful elect. But we're not him. And it's beautiful in its redemptive part. It's fearful and terrorizing in its judgment part. And it's staggering to watch it all playing out. It's like, oh my gosh, dude. Where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled. What is spoiled? It means over. Look, man. So look, spoiled. Look at this. Look, strip violently of clothes, strip a slain enemy, to strip, plunder, pillage. So all the women right now and the idea of marriage, it's been plundered. The reality of what marriage is. Again, we're the only nation, the Hebrew Israelite nation, out of the 18 nations, is the only nation that has the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to even comprehend what marriage even is. How in the F is some other nation going to teach us how to be the boundaries of marriage and why those boundaries are set up when those other nations don't even have the wisdom, knowledge, understanding of the Most High Yahweh. The gods that they serve aren't even married to them. The, listen to what I just said. There is no covenant of any of the gods of the other nations that those powers, that those gods have made with those nations. Satan has not made a covenant with Esau. Are you hearing what I'm trying to say, man? Moloch has not made a covenant with Amalek. Because the minute Yahweh tells the left hand to step away from Amalek, Lucifer, the banking families, what does it say? Stand now with thine enchantments. Where is the wise men in Teman? What does that mean? That means Yahweh is cutting off the light on the left-hand side. And those left-hand powers will no longer, they will obey Yahweh. They will not speak to Esau. They have been doing this every age throughout time. All four beast systems had left-handed light. All four beast systems had left-handed power speaking to them to give them the upper hand while they were in rulership. And every single time, those powers left those human beings, those nations, to die so that the next wicked nation could rule. And they moved on to that nation. And while that nation was ruling, they were speaking to him. And when it came time to let that nation go, because another great race was determined to rule, they would leave those people. No matter how many human sacrifices, no matter how many sexual fucking ritualistic fucking temple fucking acts they did. When it was time for that rulership to fall, they fell, bro. And those left-handed powers moved on to the next group of people that were going to be in rulership. There is no covenant that another nation has ever been able to make with another god. The only race, the only nation of people on planet Earth who's ever been married, divorced, and is positioning themselves to get remarried to the same power, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua, are the Hebrew Israelites. Which then what? That qualifies us to speak on this. It doesn't qualify anybody else. And this is what is happening right now. The reality of marriage and covenant and the boundaries that are required to experience it have been plundered. And as a result, we are now entering into Ecclesiasticus, we can pull from Ecclesiastes 3. There's a time for war, a time for love, a time for hate, a time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. It's not the time. It's not the time to get married right now because we are positioning ourselves to get remarried to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. And when that determination comes close to its perfection, this is when we then see this. Because this is the physical manifestation, right? It's like a thermometer. Isaiah 4:1, I will make a man. In the other one in Isaiah, I will make a man more precious than gold. And in Isaiah 4:1, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man. This is now Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai turning the captivity of the 12 tribes and bringing judgment on the nations and getting us back in order. And I said all that to say also this, man, I'm talking a lot. Sorry about that. So look, Revelations 3. This is Yahweh Shai. I know thy works, thou that art neither hot nor cold. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increased with goods and have seen and need of nothing. So verse 17 is what you see happening on the earth right now. Women are proud. What do they say? I don't need a man. Okay, why? Because they have their careers, they have their electricity, they have their running water, they can go to the store and get their food. They don't got to plant seeds. And the system of Esau, the digital man of Esau protects them from all the other men. That hedge is what keeps, and then the doctrines of a woman can divorce, and the doctrines that a woman is equal to a man, and the doctrines of if a woman chooses, she can choose whoever she wants. All that is why there's no hedge, and why and the pride, and then it makes you proud, right? So verse 17, because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods, and have need of nothing, and knowest that thou art wretched and miserable and poor, blind and naked. So you don't understand the state that you're in, right? And then this is what Yahushua is saying to us that we're in this place. Look at this. This is the elect. This is what's happening. Look, and this is Isaiah 4:1. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, right? And white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. And in this next part, this is the empowerment to repent, because he's saying this, and it's only applied to the elect. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. Now look, this is the being zealous and repent and making yourself ready and white. Isaiah 4:1. Look at this spiritually. And in that day, 7 women. What's the 7 women? The elect men shall take hold of one man. Who's that one man? Yahushua and his father Yahweh, saying, we will eat our own bread. What's that bread? The bread of life. We will go into the scriptures. We will, okay, listen, and wear our own apparel. What's the apparel? The white raiment. We are gonna submit back to you. We're gonna eat what you have given us to eat, the bread of life and the living water. And as a result, right, we're going to cover ourselves with your white raiment so that our adulteries are not seen, right? We're going to change our attitude and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name. And only after that, after we come back under the hedge, after we submit to the hedge, after we see we need the hedge, and we are in agreement that this is the only way. The entire world is out of fucking control because they don't know. Only let us be called by thy name. Marry us again, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, to take away our reproach. Now look. You read this now. Go into Joel. And Joel is a now prophecy. And we know it's a now prophecy because it describes 2 major points when you get the understanding. It describes the atomic weapons that are going to be launched on America. And so this prophecy had to take time because mankind was not given that technology yet, but we have it now. Esau has it now, right? And inside of this prophecy, and it also mentions the Northern Army being taken away and gathering over there in the Levant area, the area called Yehoshaphat, the day of the Lord, over there in the Arabian desert. And we see the forming of that now, and we can back that up with 2nd Ezra's 15:28 down to 30 or something like that. We understand that's the area. That this is but this is also, these instructions are placed in Joel. So that means these instructions are put ahead of time for the hopeful elect when they would wake up in the latter days after they were scattered for their adulteries. Okay? Lament like a virgin. Like a virgin. Girded with sackcloth for the husband of her youth. What is this talking about? This is talking about Israel, the only nation that was ever married. And we got married back in the time of Abraham, Moses. That's when he married us. He gave us his name, his law, statutes, commandments. That's when we were younger, right? Lament like a virgin. Why? Because you got to make yourself white. We have to do Revelations 18. In the blood of Yahushua, I counsel thee to buy of me gold, tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, becoming a virgin again, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. And anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. Remember the woman caught in adultery? And Yahushua said, where are thine accusers? I don't accuse you either, but don't sin no more. That was a type and shadow of what he's going to do for the hope elect. Remember Mary when she wept at his feet and she wiped his head with his feet with her hair in front of all those men? That's a type and shadow of what we see in the scriptures for the elect. We are the only nation that understands or can understand the boundaries required for marriage. Everybody else doesn't know, you guys. Women don't know. Oh, what do you mean I'm your possession? That's the only way it's going to work. And I have to be the possession of Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai. That's the only way it works, you guys. It doesn't work outside of that. Look. So then we see, and inside of Joel, let me come back to this. Inside of Joel, There's another instruction right here. Look, Joel 2. So we are to lament like a virgin in sackcloth for the wife of her youth, which is talking about Yahweh by Shem Yoshai. And look, when we start to lament, what do we say? Let the priest, this is Joel 2:17, let the priest, that's the virgin lamenting, the ministers, that's the virgin lamenting of Yahweh, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, what's he say? He's giving us the lyrics to the new song. This is the format. We have to go, we have to follow the instruction. This is what a wife does. She listens to the instruction of her husband. And in that place is salvation. This is the hedge. Spare thy people, spare thy wife, O Yahweh, and give not thine heritage. What's that? The laws, the statutes, and the commandments, the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding, the prophecies, the ways that he gave us, circumcision. A man can't have long hair. One woman, a woman can only have one husband. A man can have multiple wives. Those are the ways of the heritage. Offering the holy days, the laws of cleanliness, the laws that give us order in life, all of that, the Sabbath days, the new moons, the feasts. That's the heritage. Okay, O Yahweh, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among thy people, where is their God? Where is their husband? Where is her hedge? Where is her Savior? Where is her God? Where is that nation's protection? You see, we can continue to ravage them. We can continue to spoil them. We can continue to indoctrinate them with our nasty ways. There's so much in this. These instructions are given to us. Why? Because this is happening. Look, go back. And in that day, 7 women. Yes, the women are going to come back to the men of the Lord. But why? Because the men of the Lord are the woman, the 7 women that are coming back to one man, saying, we will eat our own clothes. We're going to come under Yahweh. We will eat our own bread. We're going to live off the bread of life. And we will wear our own apparel. What? The clothing that you provided for us. What did Esther do in the Bible? When it was her time to see the king, she asked the servant of the king, what does he like? I'm paraphrasing. Go into Esther, another type and shadow of the elect. She said, what does he like? And I want to put that on. She did everything right. And that's why when he hooked up with her, he was like, whoa, it wasn't just the bedroom, you guys. It was her entire vibration. It was her fragrance. It was her movements. It was the way she honored his majesty. That's why he married that girl, you guys. You got to understand, that was a heathen king. But the kings that were kings, they were set up by Yahweh. The Most High raises up those kings, and he endows them with the ability to be that king. And he understood. Remember that they had a whole thing going on because his wife tried to embarrass him in front of everybody. And then his council group told him, if you don't do something, all the women are going to act crazy. I remember reading that as a Christian, and I thought that was mean. I didn't understand. Why do you think Esau puts things on television? He's telling a vision. What is one of the root words of vision? Instruction. Order. Also, futuristic. It's social engineering. They put rebellious women on TV on purpose. They put hedgeless women that look good on TV on purpose because it makes all the other women want to do so. That becomes the example, you guys. And so the king he divorced, or he put down Vashti, and then they threw a big old banqueting party of all these women. They got them all ready. 6 months of oils, 6 months of fragrances, preparing their bodies for 12 months before they even saw the king. What's that like? What's that? That's us. That's the hopeful elect in this truth, in these scriptures, in the anointing, the name of Yahushai. We're soaking in the oils of the name of Yahushai. We're marinating in the herbs and spices, or the cinnamon, the aloes, and the myrrhs of the garden, so that all of that incense, all of that temple, all of that holy righteousness is taking over our bodies, our minds, making us clean again so that we're presentable and that we're acceptable before Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, that we're an actual bride, not a whore. It's all throughout the scriptures, you guys. This whole thing, it's all throughout the scriptures. So look, I'm going to continue. Lament like a virgin, girdle with sackcloth for the husband of her youth. And then we're given the words, and this is what you say. This is what I like. This is how I want you to dress. This is what I want you to sound like. Let the priests, the ministers of Yahweh, weep before the porch and the altar, and let them say, spare thy people, O Yahweh, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, where is their power? So now, how to open this up more? We go into Psalms 74:2. Remember thy congregation, which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, the Mount Zion, wherein thou hast dwelt. It all comes back to the heritage, and we are the people with that heritage. How long shall they utter? This is which one? This was the same one. How long shall? Oh man, Salakia. I didn't get the. How long shall they utter and speak hard things, and all workers of iniquity boast themselves? They break in pieces thy people, O Yahweh, and afflict thine heritage. So this is an ongoing thing. They slay the widow and the stranger, and that's the position that we're in today. We are a widow because we were divorced by our husband. What's a widow? Her husband is dead, has died. Well, how did Yahweh die to us? He didn't die, but we went into the congregation of the dead because he took his name off of us. And then over time, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, the heritage that he gave us, we no longer understood him or his ways, and we became a widow. And as a result, we became a stranger. We became like the heathen nations. And now we're coming back. And everyone that's watched this happen, they're like, oh, you guys are the people of God. You don't know. How the fuck do any of them know? They don't know. Our people that aren't being told this by the Spirit don't know, and the nations sure as hell don't know. The only people who understand really what's going on are the real high-ranking elites on the left-hand side, because they understand the lies that they've told all over the earth, and they see us coming back to life. So I'm missing some stuff. Hold on, Here's another reason why. Look what happened. This is Jeremiah 17. The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the tables of their heart and upon the horns of the altar. Whilst the children remember their altars and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills. This is how we commit adultery against Yahweh, because these are the ways of the heathen nations. These are the religious, wicked practices on the left-hand side. Verse 3, O my mountain in the field, I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin throughout all thy borders. 4, and thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage. See, this heritage is major. This is the conduct. These are the boundaries. This is the attitude and vibration that we only know how to walk in to be that wife to Yahweh. Nobody wants a woman that doesn't have any of this in them. It blows my mind that people even are getting in relationships right now, bro, because there's none of this in the women. You know what I'm saying? And the men also don't know. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Thus saith Yahweh, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose mind departeth from Yahweh. And you can see this in women. It's the same thing. Women don't trust our women don't listen to us. Their minds, their hearts are trusting in another man, another system. And as a result, they're completely, it's impossible to be in a healthy, enjoyable relationship because there's so much chaos. It's just impossible. And yet this is also the judgment, because this is what we did to Yahweh. It keeps coming back to us. Every time you see women, it makes you mad. Anytime you see a woman that's just proud and beautiful, but she don't need a man. You're looking at yourself. If you're a Hebrew Israelite, because at one time, for a long time, we said what? We don't need Yahweh Shai. We don't need Yahweh. We want these other nations. We want the ways of these other nations. That's what we're seeing, not only with our women, but the women of the rest of the women of the nation. They're all, but it's the judgment of Yahweh. Can you guys see that? So I think I'm done. I'm kind of going all over the place. But one more thing and I'm going to end. And how is this really physically applied? All of these, it's not just prayers, you guys, because 3 times fasting, actual fasting, is mentioned in Joel. I'm going to pull that. That's it. I'm going to end it. I'll end the lesson. Call it fast. Let me see. Call it sanctify fast. Should be in Joel. So it's in Joel 1 and 2. So Joel 1:14 and 2:15. So 2 times it is mentioned to sanctify a fast in the book of Joel, and then we are given instruction. Why? Because by the time this prophecy is manifesting as a token, which means it's now beginning to really speak, it's today. It's in the times that we are experiencing right now. We don't know the instruction. We don't know the heritage because we discontinued it. We are in a divorced state as a result of our actions, and now we're coming back in. We're in the process of being restored. So we don't know or understand everything, but we're in the process of repenting. We're in the process of getting washed off. And every day when we study and we listen, every day when we're listening to lessons, we're getting more and more. We're becoming more whole as a house, as a nation, as a hopeful bride. And we're coming out of these whorish ways, these proud ways. And then every time we look at society, it's like, bro, I get pissed on TikTok, you guys. And I do. And the water for the spirit, but it's like, look, you're seeing yourself. This is the prophet Nathan telling King David. There was a rich man that came into a city who had all kinds of cattle and everything. And then he saw this poor man and he took his one sheep. Oh, that man should die. Well, you're the man. It's like, bro, every time we see women, and I'm not, again, this is not overlooking the state of our women. Not at all. But we got to start gleaning. Every time you see an arrogant, beautiful, unapproachable, unteachable woman, that's just you're like, damn, she's fine, but God, bro, get a little bit of that, and remember, and think about yourself, and think about us as the men, and then take it back to Yahweh and be like, whoa, I've transgressed against you, man. This is what we did. This is how we've been. This is how we are to Him. This is how we are to Yahweh Shai. It's hideous, bro. A woman who says she doesn't need a man is the exact same reflection of a Hebrew Israelite man who will not submit to Yahweh or His prophets. Because this also comes down to us walking humbly amongst ourselves, the other prophets, the men of GMS. Seriously, that's because the Most High has represented. There's an order, and on the earth, the representation of Yahweh Shai. Right? The representation of Yahweh are His prophets. And we have to become genuine in our humility. We have to become genuine in our taking instruction and submitting to this. Okay? So Joel talks about fasting. Look, and it's physically got to be done. We have to not eat food. Okay? Sanctify ye a fast. Call a solemn. This is Joel 1:14 and 15. Sanctify ye a fast, call a solemn assembly, gather the elders and all the inhabitants of the land into the house of Yahweh your God, and cry unto Yahweh. Why? Because once you start getting the understanding of all this history, of all the stuff that we've done, and then you start learning the prophecies and all the judgments and the redemptions, when you start really, really learning the new song, it's like we got to sing out every aspect, every chapter. We have to go into fasting on a regular basis, you guys, right now. And go before Yahweh and lament like a virgin for the husband of her youth with sackcloth in. And then what do we say? Because we don't know what to say. He provides the instructions in Joel. Because at the time we are reading this with understanding, in the last days, we don't understand everything. We're literally walking around with a head wound. that's being healed. Our memory is being restored. Okay, let me pull up a text message with the brothers that I have a chat with. And this is yesterday. And Brother Shabai put in Baruch. So I said, I posted, lament like a virgin, girded, wait, hold up. Salakia. So I posted this. Let the priests, Joel 2:17, let the priests, the ministers of Yahweh, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, spare thy people, O Yahweh, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among them, the people, where is their God? Psalms 42, yea, for thy sake are we killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Awake, why sleepest thou, O Lord? Arise, cast us not off forever. Wherefore hidest thou thy face? It goes into the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And forgettest our affliction and our oppression. And then I put another precept, lament like a virgin, girded with sackcloth for the husband of our youth. And the reason why I was doing this is because I was also, I was sharing this with them, but I was also taking notes at the same time. Because I was like, oh, I just got something I'd never gotten before. And I need to harness this. And this is position and this is the position or state of mind we are to be in when saying this prayer. I didn't know any of this until last night. I'm still getting the understanding. And then Shabai responded, you're playing the heart beautiful Malak. And then this, but listen, look what he does. I didn't even consider this until I read Baruch. Listen to Baruch, because Baruch is just like Joel. Remember not the iniquities of our forefathers. And we are our forefathers once you understand reincarnation. But this is us as a nation, right? So we got to go back into the past. Once you know who you are, then you got to go back into the past of who you were and then see everything that you did and then confess all of that, man. That is so major. Remember not the inequities of our forefathers. Now that we are understanding what we did, but think upon thy power and thy name now at this time. Why? Because that's his heritage also, because he gives it to us. Baruch 3:6, for thou art the Lord our God, and thee, O Lord, will we praise. Baruch 3:7, and for this cause thou hast put thy fear in our hearts, to the intent that we should call upon thy name and praise thee in our captivity. Right there, that right there is what solidifies what captivity? The one that we're in right now, which now connects it to all these other precepts. For we have called to mind. We're remembering by his grace, and because prophecy said we would, all the iniquity of our forefathers. Look at that sin before thee. We have to go back in time and reread the scriptures and study history and understand judgments, and then come back into the present and then look at the state of the world, then go back in time again. We got to jump back and forth in time and be like, oh man, we did this. And that's why the whole world, because of the judgments of Yahweh using the sword, which is Esau, it connects to what we did. So he's going to redeem us after we're done with our punishment, and then he's going to judge the nations. So I said a lot. I pray that this lesson was edifying. And again, I said this also to teach myself, and I had to put it on a digital epistle because I was like, I'm going to forget all this, man. But I'm at the beginning stages of learning how to really humble myself in prayer and fasting, but not just not eating, going back into the past, remembering the transgressions, remembering the goodness, lament like a virgin in sackcloth for the husband of her youth, remembering the goodness of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, the marriage, the law, statutes, and commandments that he gave us his name. He gave us his son's name, right? He had to take it away from us because we committed adultery. And now he's waking up the elect, and we're getting a chance again to come back, and then having an attitude of just gratefulness, like, whoa, and doing what we can, the best that we can now, what we have, and repenting correctly. And I'm learning how to do this with fasting, weeping as a virgin in sackcloth, lamenting for the husband of her youth. I pray that this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem Rogadash. It's your brother Radah. Shalom.